Thanks.
So they do that.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this performance of Tartuffe. Please take this opportunity to turn off your cell phones or any other devices or lighted screens that might disrupt the performance. There is no photography or videography permitted in the theater. Also, please note that there will be one 15-minute intermission. Thank you so much, and now enjoy Moliere's Tartuffe, or The Imposter.
Nobody listens to a word I say. There's no respect. Everyone shouts at once. It's like some fretful parliament of apes. You, my girl, are nothing but a maid, with far too much to say, and most of that impertinent. We don't need your opinion.
But
there's a word for you, my boy. Buffoon. Yes, I'm your grandmother, and I should know. And if I've told your father once, I've told him 100 times. I think you're a bad lot. We'll never bring him anything but heartache.
I think...
Good Lord! The quiet one has found her voice. Sweetness and light, the sister, meek and mild. But still waters run deep, they always say, and deep down you're as bad as all the rest.
But mother...
Now, dear, don't take this amiss, but everything you do is simply wrong. What? example, as their late mother never failed to do. You spend too much. I must say it upsets me the way you go around dressed like a princess. A woman who wants only to please her husband has no business parading around like a clothes horse.
But my sister, madam.
And as for you, it's not that I don't like you and respect you, but if I were my son's wife, even if you were my brother, you'd be barred to the house, spouting your endless theories about life, which no one in their right mind would accept. Perhaps I've been too frank. But I'm like that. I never could conceal what was on my mind.
I'm sure your Monsieur Tartuffe would be pleased.
He's a good man who must be listened to. If I hear a fool like you attacking him, I may get very cross.
Some sanctimonious faker sees his power, and I'm supposed to lie back and enjoy it. And no one is allowed the simplest pleasure without permission from this turkey cock.
If what he says is anything to go by, you move and you commit a mortal sin. His beady critic's eye is watching you.
And everything he watches must be watched. He's trying to lead you up the path to heaven. My son ought to force you all to love him.
No, listen to me, grandmother. No father, no anyone can make me wish him well. There's only one way this will end, I tell you. I and that peasant can't come to blows.
You can't deny it's scandalous to see a stranger taking over here. A beggar who, when he came, had nothing on his feet and whose whole wardrobe wasn't worth a coin, going so far as to forget his place, lording it over us and finding fault.
You all enjoy these fairy tales, I see. In your house, no one can get a word in edgeways because of Madam holding forth all day. Now I've got a chance to speak. I'm telling you, the wisest thing my son has ever done is to install Tartuffe, whom God has sent here just when he was needed to save your souls as you have gone astray. I don't know what he's snickering about. Go to an asylum if you want to laugh, and don't. I'll say no more. Goodbye, dear. I take a very poor view of all this. You won't be seeing me for quite some time. Well, come along. Wake up. Don't gawk at me. My goodness me, I'll box your ears for you. Get on with you, you slut!
Well, I'm staying put. I don't want her to start on me again, that silly old...
What a shame she isn't here to comment on your turn of phrase.
Well, she got annoyed with us for no good reason, and she seems quite besotted with Tartuffe.
Oh, I promise you, her son is even worse. And if you saw him, you would be appalled. During the war, he was very brave, enhanced his reputation with the king. But ever since he's fallen for Tartuffe, he's gone around like someone in a daze. He loves the man 100 times as much as his wife, his son, his daughter, or his mother. He pampers him, caresses him. I'd say you couldn't be more loving to a mistress. He sits him at the top end of the table, enjoys watching him eat enough for 6. You have to serve him all the tastiest bits, and even when he burps, he says, "God bless you." In short, he's mad about him. He's his hero. His slightest action is miraculous, and every word he says is like an oracle. The fact is, he's a man that can spot a victim. Even his servant orders us about, gives himself airs and preaches wild-eyed sermons, and throws away our rouge and our beauty spots. The other day, the brute found my lace bib between 2 pages of the Lives of the Saints, and ripped it up, saying it was a crime to stain what's holy with the devil's frills.
You're very wise to have stayed here. You missed her lecture at the gate. My husband's here. He hasn't seen me yet, and I'd rather wait for him upstairs.
I'll wait and catch him here. I've really only time to say hello.
Ask him about my sister's wedding, will you? I'm afraid Tartuffe is against it and forced him into these long delays. It is important to me as well, you know. My sister loves Valère and he loves her. But as you know, I am in love with his sister, and if you
He's
could...
coming.
Clea Hunt, hello.
I was just on my way. I'm glad I caught you. Nothing much out yet, is there, in the country?
Doreen, you won't mind if I find out what's been happening and put my mind to rest, will you? Just a minute. How is everyone? Everything fine? Are they well?
2 days ago, the mistress had a fever and a strange nagging headache all day long.
Oh, And Tartuffe?
Tartuffe's in the best of health. Big, fat, and blooming with his nice red mouth.
Oh, poor boy.
She felt quite nauseous all evening and couldn't touch a mouthful of her dinner. Her headache was so painful.
And Tartuffe?
He sat in front of her and ate alone, swallowing most religiously a brace of partridge, followed by a leg of mutton.
Oh, poor boy.
She never closed her eyes all night. We had to sit up with her till the dawn.
And Tartuffe?
He was struck down by a kind of pleasantly weary feeling and repaired directly from the table to his room and slumbered dreamlessly till morning.
Poor boy.
We finally persuaded her to be bled, and she felt better at once.
And Tartuffe?
Put his bravest face on it, and bracing himself against the blows of fate to make up for the blood the mistress had lost, drank 4 large tumblers full of wine for breakfast.
Poor boy.
At any rate, they're both quite well now. I must go upstairs and tell the mistress how interested you've been in her recovery.
She's making fun of you. Must have noticed.
Oh.
I don't mean to make you angry, but quite frankly, it's no more than you deserve. I have never heard of such grotesque behavior. How can this man have cast a spell on you?
How can you talk about him? You don't know him.
Well, certainly I don't know him, but to guess the sort of man he is, you only need to look at what...
You would be captivated by him, and your ecstasy would know no bounds. For you see, this is a man who, well, a man in fact. To sum up, a man. You listen to him, and you feel the deepest peace of mind, and see the world for what it truly is, a dunghill. Yes, I've quite changed under his instruction. He teaches me to cast aside affection and clear my mind of any trace of love. Now, I could see my mother or my brother, my wife and children die, and not give that.
Oh, well, I see he's quite a humanitarian.
Oh. If only you had been there when we met, then you would feel the same warmth towards him as I do. Each day, he'd arrive in church and kneel meekly right next to me, and never failed to capture the entire congregation's notice with the enthusiasm of his praying. And when I leave, he'd hurry on ahead of me and hand me the holy water at the door. His servant, who's like his mirror image, told me about him, who he was, his poverty. I gave him money, of course, but he always tried to give some back to me. Oh, too much, he'd say. Oh, I don't need half this much. What makes you think I deserve your pity? And when I'd refuse to take it back, he'd go and share it with the poor, right in front of me. Finally, I was inspired to bring him here, since when it seems that we all have flourished. He disapproves of everything, of course. He keeps a close watch on my wife for me. Gives me the names of all the people that make eyes at her. He's far more jealous than I've ever been. You've no idea. The fervor of the man. He sees the slightest failing as a sin. He's scandalized by what we hardly notice. Recently, he's full of self-reproach for having caught a flea while he prayed and killed it with excessive savagery.
What is this? Are you making fun of me? Or can it be true that you don't make a distinction between hypocrisy and piety? Do you really class them both together? Respect the mask as highly as the face, and consider sham the equal of sincerity?
I see. You're a most distinguished genius, Oh, uniquely brilliant and uniquely wise. An oracle, a Cato of our time, compared to whom the rest of us are fools.
Ha! No, I am not a most distinguished genius, but there is one thing I know, and that is the difference between true and false. And while there is no one I approve of more than genuinely religious men, and nothing nobler or more uplifting than the enthusiasm of true belief, equally, there is nothing more disgraceful than specious fervor laid on with a trowel, and no one worse than these downright impostors, these career mystics trying to notch up credit and prestige by screwing up their eyes and throwing fits.
Is that all?
Yes.
Oh, then perhaps you'll excuse me.
Just 1 minute, please. I'll change the subject. Now, you have promised Valère your daughter's hand.
Yes.
And you've even given them a date.
That's right.
Then why have you postponed the wedding?
I have no idea.
Have you perhaps changed your mind?
Possibly.
Are you going to break your word?
Oh, now I didn't say that.
Well, I just can't possibly imagine what could prevent you from honoring your promise.
Oh, it depends.
Well, what is all this evasiveness? Valère has asked me to see you about it.
Well, that is nice.
Yeah, but what am I to tell him?
Well, tell him whatever you like.
Then I have to know what you have in mind. What are your plans?
To do God's will.
Be serious, will you? Valère has had your promise. Will you keep it?
Goodbye.
Oh. I fear the worst for Valère's engagement. I must warn him what's going on.
I'd like to have a word with you in private.
What's in there?
Oh, nothing. I'm only checking no one's there. I wouldn't like us to be overheard. Ah! But that's all right. Marianne, I've always appreciated your obedience, and you've always been very dear to me.
I'm very grateful, Father, that you loved me.
Oh, that's well said, dear. And if I'm to continue, your only worry need be to provide me with what I want.
I take a pride in it.
Oh, good. What do you think of our guest, Tartuffe?
Who, me?
Yes, you. Now be careful what you say.
Oh, dear. Well, I'll say anything you like.
Oh, how very sensible. Why don't you say that he's wholly excellent, that he's reached your heart, and that it would make you happy if I agreed to let him marry you? What?
Sorry?
What is it?
I don't think I caught what you said.
Oh, what do you mean?
Who is it that you wanted me to say had reached my heart? And it would make me happy if you agreed to let me marry who?
Tartuffe.
But
What I want is for it to be the truth. It's my decision. What more do you need?
You want...
Yes, my dear. I intend to make Tartuffe a member of the family. He's going to be your husband. It's all settled. And since I have the power to insist... What are you doing? Eavesdropping again? Suffering from chronic curiosity?
I heard somebody mentioning this marriage, and I couldn't decide if it was rumor with some basis in fact, or pure invention. The one obvious thing was, it was nonsense.
Oh, you find it unbelievable.
So much so, I wouldn't believe it even if you told me.
I think I have a way to make you, though.
I know. You're telling us a fairy story.
I'm telling you exactly what will happen.
Rubbish.
This is serious, Marianne.
Oh, get on with you. Your father doesn't mean it. He's joking.
Will you listen?
No, no good. We don't believe you.
I'm starting to get annoyed.
All right. We do believe you then. In this case, shame on you. You look quite normal, and yet you mean to tell me you're mad enough.
That's enough. You've taken certain liberties today, which I don't like. One bit. Now, I warn you.
Let's try to keep our temper, shall we, sir? I still think this is some elaborate joke. Your daughter is not cut out for a bigot, and he should have other things on his mind. And anyway, what possible advantage could such a marriage bring you? And why choose a beggar for a son-in-law with all your money?
That's enough. If he has nothing, then all the more reason to admire him. His poverty is honest poverty. It lifts him up higher than the great. He has nothing through voluntary renunciation and a pure indifference towards temporal things and a commitment to eternity. Now, I am your father. I know what's best. It's true, I had promised you to Valere, but he's been seen more than once playing cards. And I suspect he may be a free thinker. Anyway, I don't see much of him in church.
Well, why should he know exactly when you do? He's not like others, just there to be seen.
Oh, I don't need your opinion. All I know is that the heavens smile on Tartuffe, and that is an asset second to none. This marriage will fulfill your wildest dreams, a series of sweet pleasures. You'll live together, faithfully in love, like two children, like two turtle doves. And you'll never quarrel. And you'll find that you can turn him into whatever it is that you like.
A cuckold, for example, which is all she wants to turn him into.
That's enough!
It's written all over him. It's in his stars. Not all your daughter's virtue could resist it.
Will you stop interrupting me? Shut up and mind your own business.
I'm only trying to help.
Well, don't! Be quiet!
It's only because we love
Oh, I don't want to be loved.
you. Even so, I want to love you.
Ah!
See, your reputation is important to me. I hate to see you lay yourself open to general ridicule.
Oh, shut up!
How could I let you contract such a marriage in all conscience?
Will you be quiet, snake, before
I thought you were supposed to be religious.
So I am. But all this jabber makes my blood boil, and I insist that you hold your tongue.
Certainly, I won't say another word, but you can't stop me thinking.
Oh, think all you like. Just concentrate on not speaking to me, or I'll... Enough! In my wisdom, after mature consideration,
It's infuriating not to be allowed to speak.
though not very pretty, Tartuffe is,
Off the side of Notre Dame.
and though you may find no sympathy for all his gifts,
This is your lucky day. I'm telling you, if I was in her place, no man would marry me against my will. Or, soon after the wedding, he'd find out there's one way women can revenge themselves.
I see you're ignoring what I just said.
What's the matter? I wasn't speaking to you.
What are you doing then? see. I've never heard such insolence. She deserves a good smack. And here it comes. My dear, you must agree. The husband that I have chosen for you is... The choice I have made is... Well, speak up!
I have nothing left to say.
Surely, there must be something.
No, don't feel like it.
But I've been waiting.
You think I'm a fool?
Anyway, I insist on your obedience and your full acceptance of my choice.
I wouldn't be seen dead with such a husband.
Oh, you! That girl is a pest. I can't put up with her without surrendering to sinful rage. I really can't continue our conversation. Oh, her insolence has goaded me to frenzy. I need some fresh air to calm me down a bit.
Well, have you lost your tongue? Am I supposed to play your part in this? How can you let someone propose this idiotic plan without saying a single word against it?
What can I say? A father's power is absolute.
Anything to stave off a threat like this?
What?
Tell him you can't love at second hand. Tell him you're marrying for your sake, not his. Since you're the center of attention here, it's you, not him, your husband must appeal to. And if he thinks Tartuffe is so very attractive, he's quite welcome to marry him himself.
I've never had the strength to raise a protest against father's authority, I admit.
Just a minute. Valère has made his move. Tell me, do you love him or do you not?
How can you be so unfair to my love, Doreen? How can you ask me such a question? Haven't I always confided in you and told you 50 times how much I love him?
Well, how do I know if all that was true?
Doreen, it's very wrong of you to doubt it. You know I've never hidden my true feelings.
So then, you loved him.
Yes, passionately.
And by all appearances, he loves you too.
I think he does.
And the two of you are most impatient to get married.
Yes, we are.
So what do you plan to do about this business?
If they force me, I'm going to kill myself.
That's wonderful. I hadn't thought of that. Of course, if you die, you'll avoid all these problems. What a brilliant way out. It makes me angry to have to listen to this kind of talk.
There's no need to get up, Doreen. You have no sympathy for people's suffering.
I have no sympathy for empty threats or crumbling without putting up a fight.
What do you expect? I can't help being timid.
But perseverance should be a part of love.
And I have persevered. I love Valère. Isn't it up to him to win my hand from father?
What? When father is this clown who's utterly besotted with Tartuffe and breaks his firm agreement on the marriage, you think the blame should be put on Valère?
Would it be right to show by flat refusal or wild defiance how much I am in love? However fine he is, should I abandon my sex's modesty, my daughter's beauty? Do you think I should publicize my love?
Oh no, I wouldn't want that. Now I see. You want to marry Tartuffe after all. And now I stop to think about it. It was quite wrong of me to try to dissuade you. What right had I to quarrel with your wishes? He's a most eligible match, is that Monsieur Tartuffe? Oh no, he's nothing to be sneezed at, is he? I mean, one can't deny that Monsieur Tartuffe's a man who knows his backside from his elbow. And to be his better half, that's no small honor. He's generally admired. He's of good birth, at least he says he is. Sort of well-built, those ragged ears and that nice, florid face. The only danger is you'll be too happy.
Oh, God!
Can you imagine the elation to be the wife of such a handsome man?
Oh, stop it! Please! Then find some way to help. I give up now. I'll do whatever you say.
No, a daughter must obey her father, even if he wants to marry her to an ape. You're very spite of everything, I can't help feeling sorry for you.
If I'm to undergo this cruel martyrdom, you see, Doreen, I know it's going to be the death of me.
Don't worry, I'm sure there's some clever way. But here's Hilaire himself.
I have just heard the most extraordinary piece of news.
What's that?
That you are marrying Tartuffe.
It's true, my father wants me to.
Your father.
Has changed his mind. He's just this minute told me.
What? Seriously?
Yes, seriously. He seems determined I should marry him.
And what do you intend to do now?
I don't know.
Oh, well, there's an honest answer. You don't know?
No.
No?
What's your advice?
Oh. Well, my advice is to accept.
That's your advice?
It is.
You mean it?
Well, certainly I mean it. It's a handsome offer, well worth your attention.
Well, then I better follow your advice.
Oh, I don't think that will be too hard for you.
No harder than it was for you to give it.
I did so in the hope of giving pleasure.
Whereas I shall not follow it to please you.
Well, let's see how they can get out of this.
Is this what love is? Was it just deceit when you and
I'd rather not discuss that. Please. You said quite openly that I should marry the husband I've been offered. I'm announcing that I intend to do so following your excellent advice.
You shouldn't use my stand as an excuse. You'd already decided and you're grasping at this silly pretext to justify breaking your word.
It's true. You put it very well.
I'm sure you never really loved me.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Yes, I am entitled. And I may manage to forestall your plan by taking my proposal somewhere else.
I wouldn't be surprised. You're so good looking.
Right. Let's leave my looks out of this, shall we? They can't be that good as you've just yourself demonstrated. But there is somebody who feels kindly for me, and now I'm free won't be ashamed to remedy my loss.
Your loss seems far from great. I'm sure you'll have no difficulty finding consolation.
You may be confident I'll do my best. Being abandoned puts us on our mettle. I suppose you think I should keep my love for you alive and burning endlessly, watching you fall into someone else's arms without the right to find some new allegiance for the heart you've rejected.
Not at all. That sounds like the best idea. I wish you'd done it already.
Is that what you wish?
It is.
Right. I'm not staying here to be insulted. I'll do you a good turn by leaving.
Fine.
You should at least remember that it's you who's driving me to this extreme.
I will.
And that this plan is only following your example.
Following my example, yes.
Well, that's enough. I'm leaving, like you said.
I'm pleased to hear it.
This time it's for good.
Wonderful.
What?
You what?
Oh, did you say something?
You're imagining things.
Right then. I'm off. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Have you gone off your head? I let you go on this long to see how far you can go. Hey, Monsieur Hilaire!
What do you want, Doreen?
Come back.
No, I'm too upset. It's what she wanted, so don't try to talk me out of it.
Don't make
No, look, it's all settled.
He can't bear the sight of me. He's only leaving because I'm here. I'd better go instead.
Oh, now it's her. Where are you off to?
Let go.
Come back.
No, Doreen, it's no good.
Oh, I see my presence as a torment to her. The best course is to free her of it now.
What again? No, damn it! Stop this nonsense and come here, both of you!
What are you trying to do?
Bring you together and get you out of this. Have you gone mad to start this kind of row?
Did you hear the way she spoke to me?
And you? Have you gone mad, losing your temper?
Didn't you see the way he treated me?
You're both as stupid as each other. All she wants is to be yours. I know that's true. He loves no one but you. All he wants is to marry you. I'll stake my life on it.
Well, then, why did you give me that advice?
Why did you ask me for it, I'd like to know.
You both are mad. Here, each give me a hand.
My hand, what for?
Come on. And you as well.
What use will that be?
Oh my God. Come here, quick. You love each other far more than you think.
budging. Give us a friendly look.
Of course, it's well known lovers are quite mad.
Don't you think I have some grounds for complaint? You must admit it wasn't very nice to take such pleasure in upsetting me.
Well, aren't you the most ungrateful man alive?
Can we leave this discussion for the moment and concentrate on fending off this wedding?
Tell us what we should do.
Try everything. Your father can't be serious with this nonsense. All the same, you should react to his ravings by giving an impression of consent so that, in an emergency, it'd be easier to spin out of the engagement. The key thing in this is playing for time. You can develop sudden illnesses to cause delay, or come across bad omens. An argument with someone who then died, broken mirrors, drinks of muddy water. Also, I'd say, to be on the safe side, it's an idea not to be seen together. So don't waste time and get your friends to start pressuring him to keep his promise to you. Bye!
Oh, to tell the truth, whatever we may try, it's you I'm counting on.
Well, I can't answer for what my father wants, but I know I'll never belong to anyone but you.
That's a great comfort. So whatever they may
Lovers
try...
can't get enough of all this bladder. Now will you go?
Oh, just one thing.
No! Board shut! Now you go this way. And you go that.
I'm going to think of something. Don't you worry. No fear of authority is going to stop me. If it does, may I be struck down now and treated with the contempt I deserve.
Oh, please, there's no need to exaggerate. It's only a suggestion of your father's. Not every resolution's carried out. There's many a slip.
I must stop this swine's plots. There are 2 words I must whisper in his ear.
Now take it easy. Let your stepmother deal with him as she's dealing with your father. She has some kind of influence on Tartuffe. She can say what she likes, and he's always indulgent. Perhaps he's even smitten with her. I hope to God he is. That would be fun. In fact, she summoned him here on your behalf. She wants to sound him out about this marriage. His servant says I can't see him right now. He's praying. But he did say he would be down soon, so please go now and let me wait for them.
Well, why shouldn't I be here while they're talking?
No, they must be alone.
I wouldn't say a word to him.
You're joking. We all know what a short fuse you're on. That's just the way to ruin everything. Now, you go.
No, I can watch! I can watch without losing my temper.
You're so annoying. Go on, quickly.
My hair shirt, Laurent, please put it away next to my birch. And I want you to pray for heaven's eternal guidance. If there are visitors, tell them I'll be at the prison, distributing what few small coins I have.
Posturing humbug.
Yes? What do you want?
To tell you.
Oh, my goodness. Just a moment. Before you say another word, take this.
What for?
Cover your breasts. I should never be exposed to them. That kind of thing does damage to the soul and can give rise to guilty thoughts.
You're very vulnerable to temptation. I didn't know that flesh made such a big impression on your senses. I can't see why you should get overheated. I mean, I'm not so easy to arouse. For instance, I could look at you, stark naked, and not be tempted by a single inch.
If you don't show a little modesty, I'll be obliged to leave you.
No, it's me who's going, so you can calm down. All I have to say is this. Madame is on her way. She'd like a word.
By all means.
Ah, that's cheered him up. I think I must be right.
Will she be long?
I think that's her now. Yes, it is. I'll leave you to it.
in all his infinite goodness grant you perpetual health in body and in soul, and bless you. That's his humblest suppliant's prayer.
I'm very grateful for your pious wishes. Sit down. Let's make ourselves more comfortable.
I hope you've quite recovered from your illness.
Oh, yes, thank you. The fever didn't last.
My prayers are scarcely worthy of attracting grace from on high, but I must say their sole object has been your speedy convalescence.
I really think you show too much desire for my welfare.
Your health is very precious. To bring it back, I'd sacrifice my own.
That's taking Christian charity to its limits. I do appreciate your kindness, really.
I do far less for you than you deserve.
I've been wanting to talk to you in private. I'm glad we're alone together here.
Yes, I'm delighted. It is such a pleasure to be alone with you for the first time, an opportunity I've often prayed for.
I thought we could just have a conversation in which you feel you might confide in me.
And I want nothing better than the chance, the privilege of bearing my soul to you, and of assuring you that the protests I made against your visitors were nothing personal. They were prompted by my zeal and by an impulse to...
So I assumed. I know my welfare was your main purpose.
Of course it was, and such was my desire.
Ow! That hurts.
It's just over-eagerness. I never meant to hurt you. I'd much rather...
What are you?
Just feeling your dress. Isn't it silky?
Oh no, please don't. I'm very ticklish.
What workmanship. It's wonderful the things they do these days. My word, I've never seen anything like it.
I'm sure. But can we get back to the point? I've heard my husband wants to break his promise and give his daughter to you. Is that true?
He said something about it, but quite frankly, madame, that's not the happiness I'm pining for. All my desires are concentrated on a different set of wonderful attractions.
No time for earthly matters.
My heart is not entirely made of stone.
I know your aspirations are toward heaven. That down here, nothing can distract your will.
The love we feel for the eternal beauties doesn't preclude a love for what is temporal. And our senses can easily succumb under the spell of God's perfect creations. His glories are reflected in your sex, but in your case, it's more than that. He's revealed his rarest wonders and lavished such beauties on you, we're dazzled. We are carried away, and I can't look at you, you perfect creature, without admiring the Almighty in you, struck to the heart with blazing love in front of God's loveliest self-portrait. Oh, at first I was afraid this secret passion was a cunning subterfuge of the Prince of Darkness, and I even determined to avoid you, thinking you might jeopardize my salvation. But finally, I came to realize my sweet beauty. In such a feeling there could be no guilt. It could be reconciled with purity, and that's when I surrendered myself to it. I'm relying wholly on your kindness rather than my own unworthiness. My hopes, my well-being, my peace of mind are in your hands. My suffering or my bliss depend on you, and only you can make me happy or unhappy, just as you choose.
Well, that's a very gallant declaration, if, to be honest, somewhat unexpected. It seems to me you ought to have reflected a little and held back from such a step. A man whose reputation as a saint.
Why should a saint be any the less human? Confronted with your heavenly attractions, a man just gives way. How can he reflect? It may seem strange for me to say such things, but after all, madame, I'm not an angel. And if my declaration is blameworthy, the real culprit is your enchanting beauty. If you could bring yourself to show some favor to your unworthy servant's tribulations, if you would deign to stoop down to my level and out of kindness offer me relief, delicious prodigy, I guarantee my eternal, unparalleled devotion. Your reputation would be safe with me. You'd run no risk of notoriety. These libertines the ladies so admire at court are ostentatious and loud-mouthed, always bragging of conquests, of whose favors no detail is too intimate to reveal. People like us know how to love discreetly and how to keep it permanently secret. Our own concern for our good character acts as a guarantee for those we love. And once you've given way, you'll find we offer love without scandal, pleasure without fear.
I've heard you out now, and your eloquence is unambiguous enough, I think. But aren't you worried that I might decide to tell my husband about this proposal? And that if he were told about your hopes, it might do damage to his friendship for you?
I know that you're too generous for that, and that you will forgive my recklessness. The violence of a passion which offends you, you will exonerate as human weakness, and bearing in mind your looks, you will acknowledge that I'm not blind, and men are flesh and blood.
Others might take another line, perhaps, but I prefer to exercise discretion. I shall say nothing of this to my husband, but in return, I'd like something from you. I want you to support, quite openly, without beating about the bush, Valaire's marriage to Marianne, and to give up your unfair influence and your desire to enrich yourself with someone else's money.
Oh, no! No! I was there and I heard everything. It's as if heaven led me there to strike the hubris of a treacherous enemy and give me the potential for revenge against his insolent hypocrisy. The means to disabuse my father and to expose this monster's attempt to seduce you.
No, dummy, it's enough you should improve and try to be worthy of my reprieve. I've given my promise, please don't make me break it. It isn't in my nature to make trouble. A woman laughs off foolishness like this and wouldn't dream of worrying her husband.
You have your reasons for that opinion, and I have mine for disagreeing with you. I think to let him off would be a joke.
Dummy.
No, please. I have to trust my judgment. I couldn't be happier. And you won't persuade me to forgo all the pleasures of revenge. I have what I need to conclude this business. And here's a man that will put my mind at rest. Now listen, Father, just to cheer you up, something's just happened which may startle you. It's a reward for all your kindness acknowledged by this man with a fat payment. He's just been showing his great love for you, which doesn't even draw the line in making a cuckold of you. I just caught him here, making a proposition to your wife. You know her gentleness and her discretion. She very much wanted to keep it a secret, but I just couldn't indulge in his shamelessness. I think it would be quite wrong not to tell you.
It's true. I don't think one should ever ruin a husband's peace of mind for trivial reasons. Honor is not affected. It's enough for us to know how to defend ourselves. That's how I feel. And if I'd had the slightest influence on you, you would have kept quiet.
My God! Can it be true what they say?
Yes, brother. I am evil. I am guilty. A wicked sinner sunk in iniquity. The greatest criminal that ever lived. Each second of my life is stained with filth. It's one huge seething rubbish heap of vice, and heavens clearly seized upon this chance to humiliate me as a punishment. I wouldn't have the arrogance to deny whatever sin it is that I'm accused of. So fuel your anger, believe what they say, and throw me on the street like some delinquent. However great the shame you pile upon me, it couldn't be as much as I deserve.
You wretch! How dare you fabricate this lie and try to blot out his purity and virtue?
You mean this hypocritical surrender can make you...
Oh, be quiet, you little pest!
No! Let him speak. It's wrong of you to blame him. You'd do better to believe what he says. Why should you favor me in this dispute? After all, how do you know what I might be capable of? Do you trust mere show? You think I'm better just because I seem so? No, you're letting yourself be tricked by appearances, and I'm sorry to say, I'm not at all the man I'm thought to be. Everyone takes me for a good man, but the simple truth is I'm entirely worthless. Oh, come on, my boy. Speak up. Call me a traitor, a lost soul, a degenerate, a thief, a murderer. Crush me with viler names. I won't deny them. I've deserved them all. And on my knees, I welcome this disgrace in expiation of my life of crime.
You go too far. Aren't you ashamed, you wretch?
You mean you're taken by this?
Be quiet, you gallows bird. Oh, brother, please, get up. Scum!
Maybe.
Shut up!
This is too much.
If you say another word, I'll break your arm.
For God's sake, brother, please don't lose your temper. Leave him be. If necessary, I'll ask you to forgive him on my knees.
You can't be serious. Did you see how kind he is? You louse. But silence.
What?
I said silence. I know your motives for attacking him. You all hate him. And I've had to hear my wife, my children, and my servants hound him. Oh, no method is too brazen when it comes to driving this good person from my house. But the more you try to get rid of him, the better ways I'll find to keep him here. And to annihilate my family's arrogance, I'm going to give my daughter to him soon.
You mean you're going to force her to take his hand?
Yes, wretch. And to spite you, this very evening. Ha! I defy you all. I'm going to teach you that I'm in charge here, and I'll be obeyed. So take back what you said this minute, liar, on your knees, and ask him to forgive you.
Who, me? Me? Ask this unscrupulous fag!
Oh, you refuse, ruffian, and insult him. Oh, a stick. Bring me my stick, and you let go. Oh, a stick, a stick. Get out! Get out of my house this instant.
All right! All right. I'm leaving.
Get out now. I hereby disinherit you, you jailbird. I'll give you nothing but my curse. Oh, what a way to insult a man of God.
O Lord, forgive his trespasses against me. Ah! If you only knew how much it hurts when people try to blacken me in your eyes. Don't! Just to think of the ingratitude is such a cruel torment to my soul. The horror of it. My heart is so heavy I can't speak. Oh, this will be the death of me.
Oh, you louse! I'm sorry I restrained myself. I should have knocked you silly then and there. Oh, brother, calm down. Please, don't look so upset.
It's time we put an end to these dissensions. I know I've been a cause of trouble here. I can see no alternative to my leaving.
You can't be serious.
They hate me here. They're trying to make you doubt my integrity.
So what? You think I'll listen to them?
They won't give up attacking, that's for sure. And accusations which you now reject are bound to take their toll eventually.
Impossible!
Brother, you know a wife can easily delude her husband.
No, never.
If I were to leave here forthwith, they'd have no grounds for these attacks. So let me.
No, but you must stay. Oh, my life depends on it. Oh, please. Oh.
Well, in that case, I shall have to sacrifice myself.
Oh.
And yet,
What?
No, we'll say no more. I know what's necessary. Honor is a fragile plant, and our friendship obliges me to prevent this rumor and suspicion by avoiding your wife. I won't be seen.
No! I defy them all. You'll spend time with her. Yes. My greatest pleasure is to make them angry. I want you to be seen with her constantly. And that's not all. To show them what I truly think, I'll make you my sole heir and not waste any time in handing over all my worldly goods. You are my friend. You will be my son-in-law, far more dear to me than my own son, or my wife, or any of my relations. Won't you please accept my offer?
Well, God's will be done.
Oh, poor boy! Let us go and draw up the papers, and let this jealous lot gag on their own spite.
Yes,
everyone's discussing it, and believe me, the verdict is not to your advantage. I'm pleased to have this opportunity to give you my opinion in, well, a few words. Now, suppose Dami has behaved badly and falsely accused you. Would it not be Christian to overlook the sin and to suppress any desire for vengeance? Ought you to allow a son to be driven from his father's house because of a dispute with you? But I tell you frankly, I repeat, people of every class are shocked by this. And if you take my advice, you'll make peace here and not let matters be pushed to the extremes.
As far as I'm concerned, I would like nothing better. I have no animus against him. I forgive him. I don't blame him at all. I would do anything I could for him. But from God's point of view, it's just not happening. And as he comes back, I shall have to leave. After his unprecedented behavior, any contact between us would invite scandal. God knows it might not be inferred. I'd be accused of pure expedience, and everyone would say that out of guilt, I was pretending to forgive my enemy, that I was afraid of him and hoped I could, in some clandestine way, pay for his silence.
With this weak concern for what other people might think, surely can't be allowed to override the majesty of doing good. No. No! Let's follow God's commandments every time and not confuse ourselves with other concepts.
I've already explained that I forgive him, and therefore I am following God's commandments. But after this scandal and today's insults, there's no commandment that says I have to live with him.
And is there a commandment that says you should acquiesce in this mad whim of his father's and accept his gift to you of a fortune on which justice must tell you you've no claim?
Those who know me would never dream of thinking that this is a result of my self-seeking. The riches of this world hold very little appeal to me. I'm not one to be dazzled by their illusory glow. And if Morgan wants me to have this gift, and I decide to take it, well, it will only be because, otherwise, to be honest, I'd be worried in case all that money were to fall into the wrong hands. People who'd use their share for evil purposes, rather than keeping it as I intend to, for God's glory and the welfare of my neighbor.
Spare yourself these dainty inhibitions. Let Dami come into his inheritance at his own risk. And don't distress yourself. Just think, it's better for him to squander it than for you to be charged with cheating him.
You must excuse me now. It's 3:30, and I'm required upstairs to fulfill certain religious duties, much as I hate to leave you.
Yeah. Damn.
Please, sir, help us to help her. She's in a dreadful state, and this arrangement her father has fixed up for this evening has driven her to despair. Look, here he comes.
Oh, good. I'm glad I've found you all together. Here's something which should raise a smile. This contract. I'm sure you know what it's about.
God knows how painful this is. And for his sake, by anything that's capable of touching your heart, relax your father's rights a little.
Oh.
Exempt my love from having to obey you.
Oh.
Don't impose this harsh law and so reduce me to wish to God that I were not your daughter. And please, don't ruin my life for me, Father. This life you gave me. You must forbid me to belong to the man I love and thwart the hopes
see you're one of those who turns religious at the first setback to your amorous plans. On your feet. The more repulsive you find him, the more improving it will be for you. Use this marriage as a means to mortify your flesh. That's all. I don't want any more nagging. And you, shut up! Mind your business, and don't you dare speak. I utterly forbid it.
If you would allow just one word of advice.
Yes, your advice is very admirable, well thought out, and I do value it highly. So you won't mind this time if I ignore it.
I don't know what to say about all this. I'm staggered by your blindness. You must be infatuated and obsessed with him to overlook what's happened here today.
Seems believing, with all due respect. I know how indulgent you were towards my son. You were afraid to contradict him when he tried playing that trick on the poor boy. You were much too calm to be believed. You would have looked a good deal more upset.
Need we react quite so ferociously when someone just declares his love for us? Our blazing eyes and spitting out insults, the only possible response to it. My way is just to laugh at these approaches. I get no pleasure out of melodrama. I think a chilly and discreet refusal is as effective a rebuff as any.
I know my mind, and I'm not changing it.
Again, I'm staggered by this curious weakness. But how would it affect your unbelief if I could show you we were telling the truth?
Show me.
Yes.
Rubbish.
Suppose I found a way to prove it beyond any doubt.
Absurd.
What a man. Won't you answer me at least? I don't ask you to take our word for it. Suppose we found a place somewhere around here where you could see and hear quite clearly. Then what would you have to say about this good man?
I would say, no. No. I wouldn't say anything because it couldn't happen.
This delusion has lasted far too long, and I'm tired of being accused of lying. It's high time I gave myself the satisfaction of showing you everything we've said is true.
All right. I'll take you at your word. Let's see you keep your promise.
Bring him.
He's coming and may not be so easy to catch out.
Well, in love, deceit is easy. Vanity leads people to fool themselves. Bring him here to me. You two, clear the table and go. And you help me with this.
Oh.
Get under the table.
You what?
It's quite important you're well hidden.
Yes, but why under this table?
Oh my God, do what you're told. I have my plan, you'll see. Come on, get under it. And when you're there, keep quiet and make sure you can't be seen.
I must say, this is really very silly, but I can't wait to see you prove your point.
I don't believe you'll have any complaints. You mustn't be surprised if I sound strange or be at all shocked. Whatever I say, remember, I have promised to convince you and must be given free rein. I shall coax, since I'm reduced to this hypocrite to take his mask off. I'll only stop it when you acknowledge you were wrong, so things will go as far as you allow them. It's up to you to interrupt his ardor when you consider they've run far enough. Protect your wife and don't expose me to any more than you need to be convinced. It's your business and you're in charge of it. If he comes, stay there and mind he doesn't see you.
I'm told you asked to see me in this room.
Yes, there's a secret I must tell you, but before I do, would you please close those doors and make sure no one's likely to surprise us? You don't want a repeat of what's just happened for anything. I've never been so shocked. Dami gave me a dreadful fright on your behalf. And as you saw, I did my best to calm him down and frustrate his intentions. It's true, I was so worried that it never occurred to me to contradict his story. But thank thank God for that reason, things turned out much better and less dangerously. Your reputation soon dispelled the storm. My husband couldn't think badly of you, and to show his contempt for crude suspicions, he wants us to spend lots of time together. And that's why I can be alone with you here without any fear of being judged, and what allows me to reveal to you what I should perhaps keep back a little longer. But I'm prepared to entertain your suit.
I'm not quite sure I follow you, madame. Just now, you gave a very different answer.
Well, if my refusal put you off, you must know very little about women. You're no good at interpreting what's meant by such an obviously weak defense. On these occasions, modesty is bound to be in conflict with our tender feelings. However right yielding to love may feel, it's always slightly shaming to admit it. At first we fight against it, but the way we do is a sign of our surrender, our voice for virtue's sake, protesting feebly against our instincts, gives the kind of no, which promises you everything. Well, no, I suppose that's a pretty damning confession. I haven't paid much heed to modesty. But since it's in the open now at last, when I have tried so hard to silence Dominique, I ask you, would I have so quietly listened to that long declaration of your love? Would I have taken it the way I did unless something about it gave me pleasure? When I tried to blackmail you myself not to accept this newly arranged wedding, what did my urgency suggest to you, if not that you now meant a lot to me and that this proposed marriage would upset me by, at the very least, making me share a love I wanted for myself alone?
To hear such words from such a lovely mouth is exquisitely pleasurable, madame. Their honey sends unprecedented sweetness, flowing in long drafts through my entire system. My main concern is to be fortunate enough to pleasure you, and my greatest blessing will be to fulfill your desires. But forgive me if I take the liberty of casting some small doubt on my good fortune. What you say might be a straightforward trick to make me break off this impending marriage. And to be brutally honest, I shan't trust these delicious suggestions you have made until I get a taste of what I crave.
Surely you don't have to move quite so fast and exhaust all the possibilities in one go to make such an intimate confession. It practically killed me. And now I find it's not enough for you. You mean you won't be satisfied until this thing has gone as far as it can go?
Can never quite rely on hope, and conversation's not a firm basis for love. I don't think I deserve your kindness. I can't accept my boldness has paid off. I won't believe it, not until you find some realistic method to convince me.
My God, now you're behaving like a tyrant and plunging me into a strange confusion. Your love has taken passionate control and your desires are violently demanding. Is there no way out? Won't you give a girl a breathing space? And is it right to make such mercilessly rigorous demands and to take advantage so insistently of this weakness you know I have for you?
But why, if you approve of my advances, refuse me the definitive credential?
We're always told we must fear heaven's judgment.
I can dispel these ludicrous alarms. I know the art of freeing inhibitions. It's true that certain pleasures are forbidden by God, but there are ways of getting around this. Depending on one's needs, There is a method of loosening the fetters of one's conscience, setting the purity of our intentions against the evil of the deed itself. I'll explain these mysteries some other time. All you need to do now is what I tell you. Don't be afraid to fulfill my desires. I'll be responsible for everything and take this sin upon myself, madame.
That is a bad cough.
Yes. It's misery.
Perhaps it would help to suck a piece of licorice.
This cold has clung on. Can't seem to shift it. I don't think it would help much to suck anything.
Well, that is trying.
Yes, unspeakably.
Anyway, I can easily remove your scruples. This will be completely secret, I can assure you. And the only evil is to make a great noise about things. Singing in silence is no sin at all.
All right. I see there's no alternative but to submit and give you what you want. Clearly, you can't be happy with a promise, and nothing less will do. I can't deny I don't want to go this far, and I do it against my better judgment. All the same, since you insist on making me, and won't believe my assurances and need more palpable corroboration, I must grit my teeth and try to keep you happy. And if agreeing to it is a crime, so much the worse for the man who's behind it, forcing me to it. It won't be my fault.
Yes, you leave it to me, madame. You'll find.
Just open the door, will you, and make sure my husband isn't in the gallery.
Why worry about him? Between ourselves, he's very easy to manipulate. I got him so that he wouldn't believe it, even if he saw us.
No, never mind. Just go and have a really good look round down there.
You were right! What an appalling man! I can't get over it. It's such a shock.
What, already? Get back into the tablecloth. You're early. Wait until he's finished to be on the safe side. I don't think you should make unfair assumptions.
He's worse than any devil out of hell.
Good God, now, don't go jumping to conclusions. If you change your mind, I think you should be properly convinced. Don't be hasty now. I wouldn't want you to make a mistake.
Nothing can stop my being happy now. I should go round. There's no one. My delight.
Not so fast! You let desire run rampant. I wouldn't let myself get too excited if I were you. So, my good man, you thought you could deceive me? Well, when you decide to give in to temptation, no one can say you do so in halves. Marrying my daughter, lusting for my wife. I couldn't believe it was actually happening. I kept waiting for you to change your tune, but I think we've had quite enough proof as it is. I'm satisfied in my mind, and that's all I need.
I did all this against my better judgment. I couldn't think of an alternative.
You mean you think?
Oh, let's have no fuss. Take yourself off without further ado. I never meant to get out of my house. No, you get out.
Because it's my house now. It won't do you the slightest good to grub up these cheap excuses to get rid of me. Attacking me is more dangerous than you think. I have a way of punishing impostors, avenging this insult to God, and making those who try to throw me out repent.
Oh.
What does he mean?
Oh, God, what shall I do? This could be serious.
Why?
What he's just said. I fear that deed of gift may have been a mistake.
What deed of gift?
Oh, it's already signed, I'm afraid. But something else he said troubles me more.
What?
I'll explain. But first of all, let's go see if that attaché case is still upstairs.
Where are you off to?
I wish I knew.
It seems to me that the first thing we must do is to discuss the possibilities.
Oh, my main worry is that attaché case. It's much more serious than all the rest.
Is what's in this attaché case a secret?
My friend Argus, who was in trouble, he left it with me in strictest confidence. Oh, he sought me out before he fled abroad. And from what he said, I gather it contains essential private and financial papers.
Oh, why did you hand it over to Tartuffe?
Oh, to free my own conscience. I went straight to him, that traitor, and I confided in him. He persuaded me to leave that attaché case with him on the grounds that if anybody asked, I could deny that I had it and still keep my conscience clear of any perjury.
I would say that things looked black for you.
No.
And to be frank, this indiscretion and the deed of gift were undertaken by you much too lightly. You have put yourself in pawn to him, and since he does have such power over you, provoking him was desperately unwise.
Oh, but who could think that that devout facade could hide such a double-dealing wickedness? Oh, to think I took him in when he had nothing. But he'll be the last religious man that I trust. In future, I'll recoil from them in horror and never miss a chance to be their scourge.
Not another one of your tantrums, please! You don't know what a happy medium is. You always lurch from one excess to another. Your reason never coincides with reason. You realize your mistake, that you were duped by a false piety. But what is the point of trying to make up for it by falling into an even larger trap and not seeing the difference between men of honor and this contemptible degenerate? Just because one thief has, with his veneer of hypocritical austerity, brazenly cheated you, you then assume that everyone is like him and that genuinely religious people don't exist today. Now, if possible, don't fall for hypocrites, but equally, don't attack true devotion.
Father! Father!
Oh. Father, is it true that this wretch is threatening you, Father? Forgetting all of your kindness, and that with vile and infuriating pride, he's turned your generosity against you?
Yes, my son. I've never suffered so much.
Leave it to me. I'll cut his ears off. There's no holding back against this kind of shamelessness. Yes, I'll get you out of this. Leave it to me. There's only one answer. I'll beat his head in!
The voice of a youth. Will you please calm down? We are living in an age and in a kingdom where violence is never a solution.
What's happening? What are these dreadful rumors?
Unprecedented things, which I myself have witnessed rewards for my generosity. I take a poor man in most willingly. I put him up. I treat him like a brother. I load him with new blessings every day. I offer him my daughter and my money. And all the while, this pig, this criminal, nurtures a black plot to seduce my wife. And not even content with that disgrace, he dares threaten me with my own gifts and wants to use the weapons with which my foolish kindness has armed him to destroy me. Take the money I've transferred to him and bring me down to what he was.
Poor boy.
My dear. Now, I really can't believe he could possibly do something so wicked.
What did you say?
People are always jealous of a really good man.
What could you mean?
This is a strange household. It's well known how much he's hated.
Hated? What's that have to do with what I've just been saying?
When you were a little boy, I told you 50 times. In this world, virtue's always persecuted. The envious may die, but envy never.
What has this to do with what's been happening?
Well, I expect they've made up all sorts of stories.
Oh, I already explained. I saw it all myself.
There's nothing so ingenious as a
Oh,
gossip.
yeah, I'll swing for you yet, Mother. Will you listen? I saw him do these wicked things myself.
There's always poison spread by idle tongues. Now, no one on earth can get away from that.
This conversation is ridiculous. I saw him. Do you understand? I saw him. I saw him with my own eyes. What I did can be described as seeing.
Appearances deceive often as not. Now, you mustn't always go by what you see.
I'm going mad.
Suspicion's human nature, and good is often mistaken for evil.
And I'm to suppose that the urge to kiss my wife had some religious motive?
Well, it's just as well not to accuse people without just cause. You should have waited to make really certain.
Good God! Was there a way to be more certain? Oh, I should have waited. I should have waited until in front of me. Oh, no! You make me say things I regret.
We are wasting time with all this nonsense which we should be using to make up some plans. But we can't afford to dream these are real threats.
You don't think he'd dare to see them through?
He wouldn't have the face to bring proceedings. He would seem just too blatantly ungrateful.
Now, I wouldn't bank on it. He'll find ways to justify his handiwork. As I said before, knowing his power, you shouldn't have provoked him.
You're right! But how could I help it? What does that man want? Now go and see. A visitor just now. That's all I need.
Good afternoon, dear sister. May I speak to Monsieur Organ?
He has company. I doubt he can see anyone right now.
I'm not here to make a nuisance of myself. I'm here to do him a good turn.
What name is it?
Just tell him that I'm here for his own good on Monsieur Tartuffe's behalf.
He's quite polite. He's here on Monsieur Tartuffe's behalf. He says he's doing you a favor.
You must see who he is and what he wants.
I suppose he could be here to make a settlement. How ought I to behave?
Don't show your anger.
How do you do, sir? God protect you from your enemies and grant you all I wish you.
That's a good start. It confirms my impression, and I think it does imply a settlement.
I've always been devoted to your family. I was once in your father's service.
Sir, I'm ashamed to admit, and you must forgive me, but I don't know who you are, or what your name is.
My name is Loyal. I'm from Normandy. I hold the much respected post of bailiff. For 20 years I've been so fortunate, thank God, as to discharge my task with honor. And I'm here. With your permission, sir, to serve you with this writ.
You mean you're here to...
Now, let's not have a scene,
A scene?
sir. All I have is this summons here. This eviction order, which says you must forthwith, without delay, remove yourself, your family, your effects.
Wait, what? Me? Move out?
Yes, sir, if you don't mind. As you are no doubt aware, there is no question that at the present moment, this house here belongs to our revered Monsieur Tartuffe.
No!
From now on, he is lord and master of your possessions by virtue of a contract, legally drawn up, incontestable, which I happen to have about my person.
You've got a nerve.
I'm not obliged to deal with you, sir. This is Monsieur Organ's business, and he's a reasonable sort of man and knows full well a man must do his duty and wouldn't ever want to obstruct justice.
But he...
Yes, I know, sir. You would never dream of making trouble.
Oh.
And as an honest man, you'll let me carry out my orders here.
You're heading the right way to feel this stick laid across your backside, Mr. Wade.
Tell your son to shut up.
Oh.
Come away. I'd hate to find it necessary to make a reference to this in my report.
Monsieur Loyal is not very well named.
I always have been very well disposed towards men of goodwill, and that's the reason I volunteered for this particular job, to comfort you and help you out and make sure they didn't send a man who, lacking my personal sympathy for you, might have approached the matter less respectfully.
What's so respectful about turning people out on the street?
You'll have plenty of time. I'll suspend execution of the writ. Until tomorrow. Oh, there's just one thing. I'll need to spend the night here with about 10 of my men.
What?
There'll be no noise and no trouble. I will need, and before I go, please, it's only a formality, the keys. I guarantee your sleep won't be disturbed and there'll be no unnecessary suffering. You just be ready, first thing in the morning, to clear out every last household utensil. My men will help you. Everyone's hand-picked to render you assistance with the move. I don't think one can say fairer than that. And as I've been so lenient with you, I would request a corresponding temperance on your part as I go about my duty.
Yes! I'd gladly give my last few coins in return for the great pleasure of punching this buffoon in the nose!
Don't spoil everything. This is unheard of. My knuckles itch. You better hold me back.
You have a nice broad back, Monsieur Loyal. A really good hiding might suit you nicely.
That kind of talk is actionable, dear. Women are liable to prosecution like anybody else.
Right! That's enough. Give us your piece of paper and be off.
I'll see you very soon. God bless you all.
Oh, and may he damn you and the man that sent you! Well, Mother, look at this writ. Do you see now that he is a traitor?
I'm thunderstruck and discombobulated.
I think you're being rather hard on him. This is only a confirmation of his goodness, the final proof of his love for his neighbor. He knows that money frequently corrupts and purely
to your salvation.
Will you be quiet? How many times do I have to tell you?
Come on now. We must stay and discuss options.
If we were to expose his insolence, surely the contract would be declared null.
Come there.
I'm sorry to impose on you like this. An urgent danger made me feel obliged to. A very close friend of mine, who's aware of my connection with you for my sake, has breached the confidentiality owed to the state and passed on information which gives you no choice but to run away. An hour ago, that swine, who for so long has cheated you, denounced you to the king and, among other accusations, gave him a case belonging to an enemy of the state, whose secrets, he said, you kept, so neglecting your duty as a subject. Now, I don't know the exact crimes you're accused of, but orders have gone out for your arrest.
What?
And Tartuffe has been told to come as well. To help the officer who's been sent to fetch you.
That's how the traitor is trying to reinforce his claim to take over all of your possessions.
It's true! He really is an evil monster!
Oh, the slightest hesitation could be fatal. Here's 1,000 louis I brought you. My carriage is waiting for you at the gate. Don't let's waste time. This is a thunderbolt. The kind of thing you simply can't escape unless you run. I'll get you to a safe place and stay with you until you've got away.
I don't know how to thank you for this kindness, and I'm afraid I'll have to wait before I can repay you. But I ask God to help me one day fulfill and express the gratitude I feel for this rescue. Take care, all of you.
Hurry up, we'll do whatever is necessary. Go.
Not quite so fast, my friend. In the name of the king, you are under arrest.
Oh, you traitor! You saved this till last. A criminal delivering his final death blow. The culmination of all your betrayals.
I'm impervious to your insults. I'm trained to be tolerant in the sight of God.
Well, how admirably self-controlled of you.
How insolently he takes the name of God.
I'm completely unmoved by your resentment. All I'm attempting is to do my duty.
You think this will enhance your reputation? You believe this is honorable conduct?
Conduct suggested by the power that sent me surely can't help but be exemplary.
But have you forgotten that it was my charity that rescued you from a life of poverty?
No, I'm well aware of how you helped me. But my first duty must be to the king. The rightful power of this sacred duty has stifled all the gratitude in my heart. To these commitments, I would sacrifice my friends, my wife, my parents, or myself.
Imposter! But if this sense of duty which drives you and which you're so proud of is so consuming, how come it held off making its appearance until he caught you molesting his wife?
Why don't you put an end to all this whining and be so good as to obey your orders?
Yes. I suppose I've waited far too long. And what you say is a timely reminder. I will obey them. Follow me at once. I'm taking you immediately to prison.
Who? Me, sir?
Yes. You, sir.
What? Why?
I don't have to explain myself to you. Calm yourself, sir. You're living in the reign of a king who's declared war on deceit. He's seen through more effective traps than this man set. He never really stood a chance. His perceptiveness discerned at once the wickedness of this man's secret heart. He came to denounce you and betrayed himself. But by a supremely fitting stroke of justice, he revealed something which allowed the king to identify him as a wanted man, whose long record under another name would fill a book with lists of vicious crimes. His Majesty also despises his vile disloyalty and ingratitude to you,
in addition to all the other horrors, and only made me his subordinate to see how far his shamelessness would go before we made him make full restitution. Oh, the king wants me to strip him in your presence of all your papers which he lays claim to, and exercise his prerogative to break the contract which he signed to give you all that you owe. And finally, he pardons the crime your friend's exile made you commit as a reward for your support for him during the war, just to demonstrate that he knows the time to pay back a favor is when you least expect it, and that he cherishes the deserving and prefers remembering the good to bearing grudges.
Thank God! What a relief!
Happy end! Not this way.
What of this then, you traitor?
No! Don't stoop to mere abuse. Just let him go. Poor wretch to his unhappy fate.
No!
Better to think this might encourage him to return gladly to the path of virtue, to turn against his evil ways and repent, and cause our great king to temper his justice against him. Meanwhile, you must go to our king and show him how grateful you are for his leniency.
Yes, that's well said. Let us go and kiss his feet and praise him for the goodness of his heart. And then, that duty acquitted, we must meet another necessary obligation and reward a sincere and generous love by celebrating a wedding.
Yes!
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. You were a terrific audience. Best one we've had today. So, my name is Jesse Lee Pacheco. I'm a senior here at CU. And me, along with some other students here, you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Nathan Ellegren.
I'm Eddie Jordan.
I'm Tate Peterson.
I'm Stephanie Spector.
Sergio King.
And we and a few others here at the university will be traveling to New York City later this semester to perform for casting directors and agents and other people in the industry as part of our New York Senior Showcase. And so CU also has representatives at the American Collegiate Theater Festival in Ellensburg, Washington, and they're competing and representing us there right now, this moment. And so we're gonna have two collectors in the lobby tonight. There's one, and there's one. They'll be waiting in the lobby as you exit, hat in hand, asking for whatever generous donation you feel you'd like to give. Anything helps, 25 cents to $1, $5, $1,000, or even 1,000 louis, or something dumb and made up. If you decide you can't give, it's perfectly fine. We thank you again wholeheartedly for being a terrific audience, and we wish you a safe journey home. So thank you very much.